Hi everyone and welcome back to another video of Mastering SQL from Basic to Advanced, and in this video we will see about transaction query language. So if you remember, in our previous video we have seen different type of SQL languages like data definition language, data manipulation language, data query language, and data control language. Also we have seen the different type of commands under this particular language with their practical implementation. Now, in this video, we will see what exactly is a transaction query language, what are the different type of commands under transaction query language, and how to implement transaction query language in practical. All right, let us try to understand first what is an transaction. So whenever we hear the word transaction, the first thing which comes to our mind is that is an payment. So it may be an offline or it may be an online. So let us try to understand with a very simple example. There are two people, A and B. Okay, A wants to send 100 rupees to B. Now, what are the different steps involved in this? First, and process of debiting 100 rupees from A's bank will happen. So A minus 100. Now the money will be somewhere with the mediator. It will perform certain operations and validations. So here the money will be between both the banks. And once when everything goes right, the money will be credited to B's account. So money will be credited to B's bank account. And at this stage, we say that the transaction has been successful or it has been completed. So this is a very layman example how a transaction happens. There might be multiple more steps, but we have taken this example just for our understanding and reference purpose. Now let us try to understand what kind of transactions happen in MySQL. So let's say there is a table in your database and it has certain records. Now you want to add any new row to this particular table. So you will run an insert command for this. After some time, you realize that the data which you added to this record is having some mistake. So you want to update that data. So for that, you will run an update command. Now you realize that some data in this table is completely wrong and you want to completely remove that. So for that purpose, you will run a delete command. Now, this type of commands which you are running over a database or any particular table are nothing but transactions in SQL. So you are making certain transactions over a database using this particular commands. So here, if you remember, different type of process were happening between two bank accounts for crediting and debiting the money. Same type of process or same type of commands you run over a table, over a database for either inserting a data, updating a data, or deleting the data. So these are nothing but transactions. Now let us try to understand the different type of commands in transaction query language and their practical implementation. So in transaction query language, there is a commit command, then there is an rollback command, and there is Savepoint command. Now we will see one by one what is a commit command, rollback command, and Savepoint command. All right, now let us see how an commit and rollback actually works. So a commit command is used to save the changes permanently to a database. Okay, so if you run a insert, update, or delete query onto a database or a table, and after that if you run a commit command over it, then these changes will be permanently saved into the database. Now let us see what rollback will do. So rollback will discard all the changes and it will return the database to its original state, but till the last commit command was run. So rollback will definitely discard the changes and it will get the database to its original state, but it will only be able to get until the last commit command was run. Now let us try to understand this using a simple example and see how commit and rollback works here. So let us consider a table with some records into it. So let's say this is an sample table and it contains some rows Now you want to add some new rows into this particular table. We very well know that to add new records to a table, we will run an insert command. Now, insert command will add new rows to this table. You reviewed that particular data and you find that it is completely okay. So now let us save these changes. So for that, you will run a commit command after this, and the commit command will save the changes permanently into the database. Now, later on, you realize that the data which you inserted into this particular table is having some incorrect information, and you have to update that information. You very well know that to update any existing data or to modify any existing data, we run a update command. So here you run a update command. That update command will update the incorrect information, and then you will review that particular information and you find that all the information is now correct. So let us save that information also, and after this update you will run a commit command again to save the changes permanently. Now later on you realize that in this particular table there are some rows which are not necessary. So you want to remove that particular rows, and you know that to remove any particular record or any particular data from a table, you will run a delete command. Now, as soon as you will run a delete command, these records will be deleted from the table. And now while deleting these records, you realize that some important data has also been deleted. So you were deleting the unnecessary records, but accidentally you end up deleting some important records also. Now you want that records back. So for this, you will have to undo this particular delete command. Now to undo this particular delete command, you will run a rollback command here. Okay, now as soon as you will run a rollback command here, this rollback command will take the database to its original state, but till the last commit command was run. Okay, now let us try to understand this. So the transaction started here. So the transaction begin with this insert command. This was the first command which we run. After this, you run a commit, then you updated the data, and again you have run the commit command. Then we started with the delete command. So the rollback command here will take you to the original state of the database, but only till the last commit was run. So if you would not have run a commit command here, this rollback command would have taken you to this commit command, because in this particular transaction, the last commit command was run after this insert command. So in this way, your commit and rollback will run. So commit will keep on saving the changes permanently into the database, and rollback will return the database to its original state, but till the last commit command only. So in one particular transaction, you can have multiple commit command and multiple rollback command. But always remember that rollback can only go up to the last commit command. It cannot go beyond that. So here the last commit was run on this after this update command. So it will go to this place. It won't go beyond this commit command. So now let's go to the workbench and practically see how commit and rollback command works. So here we are on our workbench, and here we have two database, test and test2, and under test database I have two tables, new students and employee. So for the people who have been following from the first video, you also have one new student table inside your test database, and this employee student or this employee table I have just created for the commit and rollback purpose. You can create any random table with random values, and you know how to create a new table and add values to it. So first of all, let us see how this employee table looks like. So we'll run use test, and this has successfully run. Now let us run select star from employee. Now you can see that there are 4 rows in this particular table with employee ID, first name, last name, department and salary. Okay, now first of all we will see how a commit command works. So to understand the working of commit command, first of all you will have to disable the auto commit property of MySQL. So MySQL by default auto commits everything you run here. So for disabling that, you can simply click on query, and here you will see auto commit transaction. So just click on it. Now you can see that this auto commit transactions have been disabled. So now this transaction will be committed only when you will run the commit command manually. So now let's see how a commit command works. So you have seen there are 4 records. Now let's delete one record of this table. So for this we will run a command delete from table name, and with a where clause, and where clause will be employee id equals to 1. Okay, so I want to remove the record with employee id 1. Now I will run this particular command, and you can see that one row is affected. So now let us run our table select star from employee, and you can see that the record has been successfully removed. But one thing you should understand that these changes have not been saved into the database because we haven't run the commit command, and we have also disabled the auto commit property. But in the result, it is not showing the first record or the first employer ID. This means that it has been deleted. No, this is just showing into the result, or it is just kind of a print you are getting here. But these changes have not been saved. To check this, you can simply close your MySQL here, and now you can again restart the workbench. Just open the workbench again, and once you will run test so that the database gets selected. Now when you will run this command, you can see in the output that the employee ID 1 is still present. This means that the command which we run delete from table with where employee ID 1 was not committed. The changes were not saved permanently. So now let's see how commit command will save the changes permanently. So from query, disable the auto commit transaction. Now run a command delete from table name where employee id equals to 1, and after this run a commit command. So here this should be this. Now let's try to run this. So let us run first delete. Now let us run the commit. Now you can see that 1 row and 0 row affected. So after this, let's see the select statement first. Select star from employee, and in the output, you can see that the employee ID with 1 has been deleted. But to confirm whether these changes have been saved permanently or not, simply again close the workbench, quickly open the workbench again, and now we will see whether these changes were made permanently to the database or not. So for this, we will simply run use test. Every single time you open the workbench, you will have to choose the database. So run this command. Now when you will run this select star from employee, you can see that the changes have been saved permanently to the database. So if you remember, in the first case we just deleted the employee id 1 and we did not run the commit command, so the changes were not saved. In the second instance, we deleted the row and we also run the commit command, due to which the changes now have been saved permanently into the database. So this is exactly how a commit command works. So by default, commit auto commit transaction are on MySQL, or if you want to handle them manually, you can disable them simply by clicking here, and after every transaction then you will have to run a commit rollback, or depending upon the requirement. So this is a simple demonstration how a commit command works. Now let us try to understand how rollback command will work. Now to understand the rollback command, let's do certain operation first. So first of all, we will update some information from our table. Then we will run a commit command after that. Then we will delete some information and then we will do a rollback statement. So first of all, let's try to update something. So here in this table, the employee ID 2 is having salary, let's say 60,000. Okay. Now we will update the salary to 70,000. So first of all, let's update this particular thing. So update, and the table name is employee, then set column is salary equals to 70,000, where employee ID equals to 2. Okay, so this statement will update the salary of employee ID 2 to 70,000. Make sure auto commit transactions are off. So first of all, let us run this. Let us do one more thing, just hit commit below this only. Okay, now first of all, let's run this one. Now you can see that one row affected. So after this, we will save these changes permanently to the database. So we will run a commit. Now simply check whether the data has been updated or not. So select star from employee. You can see that the data is clearly updated. Now, after this, we want to delete the record of this employee ID 3. Let's say any employee ID, I am taking employee ID as 3. So for this, we will write delete from employee where employee ID equals to 3. Okay, now this statement will delete the employee ID 3. So let us run this. Okay, now when you will see in the output, you can see that employee ID 3 has been successfully deleted. But here we haven't run the commit command. This means the delete statement has not saved the changes permanently into the database. So now after running this command, you realize that the employee ID 3 was an important record in this particular table and you want that record back. Look, here you have run this command and in the output you can see that the employee ID 3 has been deleted. But since the auto commit has been disabled and you haven't run a commit statement after this delete, these changes have not saved permanently into the database. So now to get back the employee ID 3, you can simply run a rollback command after this. So now we will run a rollback command here. So we will type rollback, and now when we will run this, you can see 0 row affected. And now when we will run select star from employees, you can see that the record which we deleted is now back. So basically rollback is able to get that particular deleted employee ID back. Now here one thing you should notice that this rollback has only gone back until the last commit command was run. So look, in this particular transaction, we first run this update command and we changed the salary 60,000 to 70,000. Then we committed this. Then we have simply run a delete command and then a rollback. So this rollback was only able to roll back this delete statement, but not this update statement, because in between that there is a commit command. So in this way, rollback can go back to the existing state of that database, but only till the last commit command was run. So in this way, you can roll back anything till the last commit command, and using the commit you can save the changes permanently to the database. So I hope now everybody is having a clear understanding how commit and rollback works on the database and in the practical. So now let's move to the last transaction query command, that is an Savepoint command. So save point is basically a point within a transaction to which you can roll back later if required. So let's say you begin a transaction and you have multiple operations to perform under that transactions. So you can save point some operations and then you can perform the next operations after that. So let's say you are performing update, select, delete, multiple things in one transaction. So after certain operations, you can use a save point and then you can move ahead. So while moving ahead, if any error occurs or any problem occurs there, so you can simply roll back all your things to the last save point and you do not need to roll back the entire transaction in that case. So you started the transaction with certain set of operations, you had a save point and then you move ahead, you had some problem there, you can immediately roll back to the last save point rather than rolling back the entire transaction. So this is how the save point works. So I hope now everybody is having a clear understanding of commit command, rollback command, and a save point command. So this was all about the transaction query language. And in this way, we have completed all the SQL commands like DDL, DML, DQL, DCL, and TQL with their practical implementations. Now, in the next video, we will see some more concepts like different type of data types, different type of aggregate functions, joins, and some clauses in SQL, along with some more data, and we will start writing queries there. So this was all for today's video. Thank you so much, everyone, and let's connect in the next video.